13 in the college football season, and we're getting into the thick of things. Only 2 weeks left of the regular season. How are you doing today, Connor?
Doing good. Can't complain. Yeah, I can't believe though that the regular season is almost complete. I mean, this
I
season's
know.
flown by.
Very sad, very sad. But at least we should have a very action packed and entertaining championship weekend heading into the not only bowl season, but the college football playoff. It looks like we're going to have probably, I don't want to say the most stacked college football playoff, but I think that we're going to have a lot of parity this season. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But I just want to remind everyone we're not going to have a Friday show. This Friday, we're going to do everything today as much as we can. I have my picks. I know Connor has a couple that he has ready. He may sprinkle some on Thursday and Friday, and we'll post those on Twitter. Go ahead and follow us either here on YouTube or on X at DDSN.us and the encyclopedia at CFE Grind. But we'll go ahead and get into it. Like I said, we're not going to have a Friday show. We're going to do basically everything today. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And we'll start with how last weekend went. How'd your games go?
I actually thought I had a pretty good weekend. I mean, I went 500, but I was so much closer to 5-1 than I was 1-5. No doubt about
Yeah.
that. Um, so yeah, 500. Let's talk about these games. Southern Miss. Finally, Southern Miss did not win. They didn't cover certainly, and they lost outright at home to Texas State. Now I did talk about how Texas State had by margin, by yardage margin, had actually been a better team than Southern Miss, but I was going to continue to ride that Golden Eagle train because it had not let me down yet. It's my
Hmm.
first loss this year. So Southern Miss has been a really fun ride this year. I'm not getting off the bandwagon, but they finally didn't cash for me there. So they Southern Miss, that's their first loss in conference play this year. Congratulations for Texas State. I'm going to have more on the Bobcats here later on in this show. East Carolina money line. Honestly, John, I was kind of surprised that Memphis played as well as they did. I thought that there was a slight chance Memphis would have a no-show there.
Yeah.
But East Carolina won outright, so I won that game, won that bet, that cashed. But I'm surprised that I had to wait as long as I did. East Carolina scored with about a minute to go up a few points there, to go up by four. I think the final score was 31-27. East Carolina's defense didn't play great in the first half. They played awesome in the second half. Um, yeah, and ECU still an outside chance to play for the American title, and that is only my second close win in best bets this year. I always lose the close games, always, 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 but I
Yeah.
finally won a close game. That's my second
Well,
close
it's
win in
about
best.
time.
Um, Wake Forest team total under 22 and a half. You have to be kidding me. Like I just said, I lose all the close games with the
Uh-huh.
best bets. That was a bad beat. My goodness. Did you see how that
Oh
game
yeah,
finished?
oh that's right because that's when Belichick called timeout, and then they're like on the 5 yard line, and then Wake Forest decides to run it up. The coach got mad and decided to run it up. What was that? That was around maybe a 9 point game before the touchdown, 6, 7, 8 point game before the touchdown.
Think it was 21-9 before that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess Belichick had some timeouts left, thought that, he's going to use it, right? And I guess the Wake Forest coach, who I've said, I don't like him, I don't dislike him, but he does make some questionable decisions, and maybe that was one of them, so he decided to run up the score there. And yeah, for you, that's a killer. I actually was thinking during the game that you had the North Carolina under.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, this is great. Wake Forest's defense showed up today, but it was the Wake Forest under. Wow, yeah, no, that's an awful beat right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, Wake Forest should not have even had 21 points going in but before that touchdown. So they should have finished with 21 points at the most.
Yeah,
So I still agree with the side that I had, but Wake Forest had a fluky touchdown in the first quarter. Then they had a touchdown right before halftime, and then a big play in the third quarter. And the next thing you know, they got 21 points, where it's like it feels like they have 10.
yeah,
So that's how those things go. I'm used to losing the close
the
games though.
close one.
I've gotten so used to it. I expect it.
Yeah,
um, and whenever I win, John, it's normally not even close. It's
yeah,
like I was
blowout
on the right
win.
side completely. And that's what happened with San Diego State and Boise State. So I had two plays for that game. I had San Diego State on the money line just because they were such a short favorite, and I felt really confident with them winning and covering. I guess I could have had a three-part play with San Diego State minus the points too. That's okay though. I cashed in both my bets because it was money line for San Diego State, and then I had the Boise State team total under 20 and a half. It was 19 and a half at some other places. I didn't even have to sweat that out. Final score 17-7. So let me pull up to make sure that was the score. I believe it was 17-7 final score. San Diego State on top. So you didn't have to sweat out either one of those best bets. So if you're keeping up here, I'm 3-2, and then the money line parlay with Utah, check. USC, check. South Florida, they lost to Navy. I
Yeah.
was surprised with that. I mean, if you had convinced me, or if you had told me that, hey, Navy was going to cover, okay, I believe that. Playing at home, you're about a 10-point underdog. Yeah, I could see a scenario where Navy covers. I didn't think Navy was going to win. So credit to the midshipmen. And honestly, John, like going back and watching that game, USF's defense did not play well, and they've been good against the run this year.
Mhm.
And they played against Navy's backup quarterback at times. Horvath was in at times for Navy as well. It, that performance from USF, especially defensively, just surprised me. Like I don't think there was any like crazy thing happening that happened in the game where it's like, okay, well, had that not happened, I would have
Yeah.
won. Honestly, no. Navy just played really well, and USF's defense did not play as good as I thought that they would. I thought USF was decisively the better team, and I guess not. So credit to Navy there. So I went 3-3, but as you can see, John, I was much closer to 5-1 than I was one
Yeah.
and five.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And so who's at the top of the American Conference right now with Tulane? Like, if they had to play today, who has the tiebreaker? Who's number two in the American right now? Is it
So right,
It's Navy, right?
no, because North Texas beat Navy.
Oh, okay.
Well, right now the conference title game would be Tulane against North Texas, and
Oh,
Tulane hosts
interesting.
because they are the higher ranked team right now in the
Yeah,
playoff rankings. Tulane is the only G5 team in the top 25 right now in the playoff rankings.
yeah.
Um, Tulane beat East Carolina head to head earlier
Hmm.
this season. North Texas beat Navy head to head earlier this month. So the American title game right now would be Tulane against North Texas. East Carolina has a big road game this week against UTSA, who's a much better home team than they are road team, talking about the Roadrunners. So there's still some things to be sorted out at the top of the American. So yeah, we'll see how it finishes, but it's most likely going to be Tulane against UNT. UNT plays against Rice and Temple, and then
Yeah.
Tulane also has a manageable next two games. Tulane plays at Temple this week. We'll see if the Owls have a little something in them there, but yeah, there's still some things to be sorted out in the American.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and at least you had a 500 week. I had a losing week for the first time in a couple weeks. I went 2-3. Thanks to a couple weird games. I'll start with the first one. This one wasn't weird, and I went against my gut all week. I talked about how Notre Dame was going to kill Pitt, and they actually did. I thought Pitt could keep it close, but I was totally wrong. This Notre Dame defense, not only the offense has improved because it sounds crazy, but Notre Dame at the beginning of the season wasn't running the football like at all. Against Miami, they didn't run the ball. Against A&M, they didn't run the ball. Not because they couldn't run the ball, they just didn't run it. They were just throwing it. But now they're leaning heavily on this running game. Jeremiah Love and gosh, I just blanked on the backup running back. But they're leaning on the running game, and the defense is has improved mightily compared to the Miami game, which basically the whole season. So Notre Dame ends up killing Pitt. My Pitt ticket goes down. West Virginia against Arizona State. That was kind of a close back and forth game. West Virginia had the lead. They lost the lead. I believe I think Arizona State was up around 13 points. West Virginia throws a screen pass on 3rd and 30. They take it for about a 60-yard touchdown. The Mountaineers were able to keep and save the not only the cover, but they had a chance to win the game. They weren't able to. Their defense couldn't hold up, but they still had a great game. Same thing with Northwestern. That was a back and forth game. A little bit of a comeback against Michigan. They also had a chance to win the game. Defense didn't hold up. I think that would have sent it to overtime. But Northwestern covers the number. Those are my only two wins. The loss, A&M. I did have a hot take guarantee that A&M would not let South Carolina score, and I was half right and half wrong. A&M was down what 27 points in the first half.
Yeah, 30-3.
Yeah, and then the biggest comeback I believe in SEC history. They come back. They end up beating South Carolina outright in College Station. South Carolina doesn't score another touchdown in the second half. So my hot take was half right, half wrong. But it doesn't matter. A&M wins by 1 point. They don't cover the number, even though they should have. They have plenty of talent. But that was their sleepy game. They have Sanford this week, and then UT, of course, Thanksgiving weekend. And then last but not least, I laid 14 with the New Mexico Lobos. This is what I get for laying these big numbers. But New Mexico outgained their opponent. They had a pretty solid game against Colorado State, but they had 4 or 5 turnovers. You're not going to cover double digits, turning the ball over 4 or 5 times. New Mexico had a lazy game, and it cost them the cover. Cost me the cover. They almost cost them the win. I believe they only won by about a field goal. But that was my weekend. Not the best. I probably should have went with some other games that I like the Georgia Bulldogs who destroyed Texas, as well as Missouri running the football like I said they should, and they dominated Mississippi State. Also, I'm glad I stayed away from Alabama because guess what? The good Oklahoma team showed up. So, um, like I said, they're so Jekyll and Hyde, but I think Oklahoma's finally got it figured out, and they end the season with two winnable games, but it
Yep.
won't be easy because they will be obviously the hunted here. They'll be favored against Missouri, and also they're a 7.5 point favorite against Missouri, and then they will be favored, I believe, against LSU. LSU coming off of a fortunate win. So you're right. I should have took Arkansas. I should have had Arkansas. They should have won that game. They didn't, but they still cover. But that was last weekend. So we'll go ahead and start getting closer. I wanted to talk about the coaching carousel right now. We have so many openings in college football. One of the openings just got locked up, and that's James Franklin of Virginia Tech. What did you think about that hire?
I'll get to that in a quick second. I want to mention a crazy stat about the A&M South Carolina game.
Okay.
So A&M ended up beating South Carolina 31-30, but they were trailing 30-3 at halftime. So teams in SEC play since 2004 were 0 and 286 when trailing by at least 27 points at any time in their respective matchup. And then A&M made that 1 and 286 this past
Yep.
Saturday. So just absolutely crazy stuff from that A&M South Carolina game.
Well,
But
the mighty Shane Beamer, you could expect nothing less than the best from him. Yeah, that guy's a total joke. We'll get into that here in a minute. But so, what did you think about the Virginia Tech hire, James
I think
Franklin?
I think that's an A+ hire for Virginia Tech. James Franklin was one of the most consistent and best coaches in the country when he was at Penn State. He just couldn't knock off those top 5 to top 10 teams. But here's the thing. When people say he just couldn't beat a top 5 or top 10 team, well, those top 10 teams were always Ohio State and then Michigan when they were so good for a handful of years there. Like, not too many coaches,
Yeah.
teams would beat those two caliber programs, those programs that are that high in their that are that high up in college football. So that's nothing against James Franklin. That would be tough for any coach to win those kind of games. But he was still one of the best coaches and had one of the best programs in the country. You could probably put Penn State in that best of the rest category. He was winning 9, 10 games consistently. And now he's going to Virginia Tech, which hasn't won 9 or more games since 2017. Now, how quickly does he get the ball rolling in Blacksburg? I don't know. I don't know what in regards to those specifics. We're still going to have to see what the transfer portal looks like in January. There's only one cycle this year, so we'll see who he brings in. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he turns around Virginia Tech pretty quickly. And when you look at Virginia Tech in the ACC, are there really any juggernauts in the ACC anymore? Like Miami's got a ton of talent, but do we
Yeah,
trust Mario Cristobal to get the most out of that talent?
absolutely
Probably,
not.
probably not. Yeah, Clemson, they're not what they used to be. And then is anyone else like that great? Like, we're going to have an ACC title potentially with Georgia Tech and Virginia.
Yeah,
Pause. Georgia Tech and Virginia. I'll repeat that. So,
yeah,
and if it's not Georgia Tech, like this past week, there was a scenario where the Duke Blue Devils, could have been in contention or could have had a path to play for the ACC title
and that's
had
probably
they.
their worst team that they've had in about 3 years.
Yeah,
Duke. They've
yeah,
had better teams too.
yeah. So like the ACC is not that good, and half of the ACC is mid or worse.
Yeah.
Certainly have a lot of below average teams. You think
Florida
with
State, they're
yeah,
down.
with the program that Virginia Tech has. I know they haven't had great teams there, but with the program that they have in place, and then now you bring in a high caliber coach like James Franklin, who's to say that they can't have pretty good success, if not really good success, pretty quickly. I don't know if it's going to be year 1, but at least year 2, year 3. Yeah. I mean, their
Yeah.
win total, by the way, is already up at FanDuel, DDSN Nation, for those that care. Virginia Tech's listed right now at 7.5 wins, shaded to the under. Price at 7.5 wins, shaded to the under for next
Yeah,
year.
I think it starts with him and then finding a quarterback, of course, because Drones has been the quarterback for what, the last 4 years, maybe? Three, four
3 years.
years? 3 years, yeah. So that's going to be a huge turnaround for them. Am I the biggest James Franklin fan? No, not at all. Yeah, he had a pretty decent program at Vanderbilt for Vanderbilt standards, which now we're seeing what Vanderbilt's doing, but a little different era. Penn State, you're right. He couldn't get the job done. And I don't want to make that excuse for him because that's what they hired him and paid him a lot of money for was to beat the Michigans, the Ohio States of the world. But, he was just always, runner up, So, yes, he finally got on that cusp and was a play away from the national championship. But at the end of the day, he still blew what, a 21-point lead against Notre Dame in the Final Four. It was at least a double digit lead against Notre Dame, and
I think it
and this
was
season they
14.
what was that?
I think it was like last year. I think it was a 10 or a 14 point lead.
Okay, maybe it's 14 points. Maybe 17. I don't know. We have to look it up. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, he'll have a chance, like you said, with I would say, lack thereof of like major talent in the ACC. He's going to have a chance. I think it was a good hire because back to back cycles, not cycles, but hires for Virginia Tech. They went with the younger coaches twice, and neither of them panned out. And I believe they all coached less than 4 years. So um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't hate it, but it literally can't get any worse for Virginia Tech right now. So you might as well hire a veteran coach that could stabilize the program, something they haven't had since, like you said, 2016, 17. What do you think about all the other openings? Are there any, like, I know there's a lot of drama surrounding Lane Kiffin right now, flirting with LSU, Florida. I know my opinion is he's got a good thing going in Ole Miss, but I think he kind of wants that, more money, not for himself, but for his staff and for NIL purposes. And I think that's why he may leave to maybe LSU. But what do you think about it?
Um, Real quick to go back to last year, Penn State was up 10-0 on Notre Dame.
Oh, only 10 points. Okay, I was thinking it was more 14, 17 points.
Yeah, they were up 10-0, and then Notre Dame scored 17 unanswered to go up by a touchdown early in the fourth quarter, and then Penn State had two touchdowns pretty quickly. I think there was a
Yeah.
turnover in between there, and then yeah, Notre Dame ended up pulling it out, obviously. But yeah, with in regards to the coaching cycle for this year, the coaching carousel, uh, I don't know what to think about the Lane Kiffin scenario in terms of like if he ends up leaving Ole Miss, where he's going to go. And then that not too long ago, I haven't looked here recently, but I know late last week, Nick Saban was the betting favorite to be the head coach in Baton Rouge. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I don't. I haven't really followed the coaching carousel that closely, just because
Mm,
it's like until things are announced officially, it's like why bother like trying to predict where these guys are
yeah.
going to go. Um, so I haven't really followed it closely, but here's the biggest thing for me with all this. If Lane Kiffin does leave Ole Miss, is Ole Miss going to have a different coach in the playoff if Ole Miss makes the playoff?
It's interesting because they gave him a timeline, right? They gave him a timeline that he had to kind of commit one way or the other.
That was the rumor, and then Kiffin came out and said yesterday or today that that wasn't true. So I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and wait and see. And ch- uh, speaking of predictions, college football playoffs out. What do you think about that? What do you think about the bracket right now and the rankings?
No surprises, honestly. The only thing that it wasn't that shocking to me, but the most surprising thing was only one G5 team in the top 25. I thought North Texas and or JMU would get some consideration there, but with only Tulane being in the top 25 tells me two things. Number one, the committee respects the American as they should, and
Yeah.
that the American title winner, whether it's Tulane, UNT, whoever ends up playing and winning the conference title, is probably going to be the G5 rep. I 100% am with the committee there. I agree with them on that.
Yeah.
But I think that there are more G5 teams that are worthy of consideration in the top 25, especially at this point in the season, especially both UNT and JMU. I know North Texas and James Madison neither really has like a tremendous win this year. Like you could argue, hey, North Texas blew out UTSA, who blew out Tulane. Yes, both teams have decent wins, and give them
Hmm.
credit. In the majority of their games, they have won and covered. Like they've looked the part. It's
Yeah.
not like they're squeaking by. Like they've been dominant for the most part in their wins. You can only play the teams on your schedule, but then that goes back to the overall strength of schedule, and Tulane at least scheduled a difficult non conference slate for themselves this year, and they knocked off two power conference teams. Northwestern, who is
Is
projected to be a
decent.
bowl team. Yeah, they're decent this year.
They beat Michigan. I mean, they
Well,
almost
they
beat
should have. They
USC.
lost. They lost to
Oh,
Michigan.
that's right. They lost to Michigan, but I mean, they're a decent team. They're not like I don't know what's
Purdue.
the Northwestern Purdue. They're not Purdue. Yeah, exactly.
And then they beat Duke, who was in ACC title consideration for the majority of the season.
Hmm.
So like Tulane, John Summerall, great coach. I've always been a John Summerall enthusiast. I think he's gonna get the most out of his talent no matter where he is. Um, so like I respect Tulane being ranked, but I think both James Madison and North Texas deserve to be ranked. So that was the most surprising thing was we only had one G5 team ranked, but I'm also with the committee ranking the American over JMU. So I,
Yeah.
I will side with them on that part. Otherwise, John, there was not really anything that surprised me. Like I thought, obviously with the head-to-head victory, OU would be over Alabama. I
Yeah.
also didn't think Alabama would drop out of the top 10. I thought Notre Dame would move up a spot or two. I think the top three, I thought they would stay the same with Ohio State, Indiana, A&M. I thought Georgia would go to 4. I thought Texas Tech would go to 5. So honestly, most of the movement made sense. Now, if you want to argue Texas not in the top 20, okay, I can understand that. But just a week ago, people were saying if they beat Georgia, they are a playoff lock, regardless of what happens against A&M.
Yeah.
So it's like, what side are you on here, right? So you have to be consistent with your arguments. The one thing, like I've done my best to be consistent with all of my arguments, and one thing that I've said every single week on this show since the playoff rankings have come out earlier this month is that the American title winner needs to be and should be the G5 representative, and the committee's been consistent with that. I will
Yeah.
also argue this other thing. I think I argued this last week, and the committee, I think, agrees with this. The Big 12, if there is to be a power conference with more than one representative, not from the SEC or the Big Ten, it deserves to be the Big 12, not the
Yeah,
ACC. Not
agreed.
the ACC. So we'll see what happens with Miami because they're not obviously in contention to play for the ACC title unless there's some chaos with Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech this week, and then maybe Miami beats Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh beats Georgia Tech. There's still some chaos that can
Yeah.
occur in a lot of these leagues, to be honest. But Miami is the only team that will be worthy of consideration in the committee's eyes for an at-large spot. They are currently the highest ranked ACC team, and they're not even projected to win, much less play for their own conference championship.
Yeah.
So I don't think the ACC deserves to be a two bid league. I do think the Big 12 deserves to be a two bid league. Texas Tech, and we'll see if it's either BYU or Utah. BYU has a tough game this week on the road against Cincinnati. Utah has a pretty manageable schedule here on out, so we'll see how things shake out. But overall, John, I didn't really disagree with anything, unless you want to argue JMU or North Texas to be that 25th place team.
Yeah, I think the real arguments or the main arguments is going to be Miami getting in if they win out, or is that place held for the ACC champion? I think I think what's going to end up happening is Oregon's going to get bumped. We're going to get, in my opinion, I think it's going to be BYU over Utah. But who knows? They may slip up against Cincinnati. I don't think so, but BYU is a good road team, but we'll see what happens. So I think we are going to get two Big 12 teams. I think Oregon's going to be on the short stick if they care about strength of schedule. Oregon hasn't played anybody. They played Oklahoma State, who I think they've only won one game, maybe, and they played Indiana, got smoked, and then Iowa game was tight. They won on the last second play. So we'll see what happens, but I think if Notre Dame wins out, they're going to be in, which I don't have too much beef with, but I understand putting Miami in over Notre Dame if both went out. They won the head to head. Who has a better strength of schedule? I mean, I would think USC does. I don't know what the metrics are, like the legit or the whatever they're going based off of, but Miami played out of conference and an ACC schedule. They scheduled Florida, Notre Dame. Who was the other one? South Florida, who was what 25 last week. So I think Miami should get in over Notre Dame if both teams win out for that reason. Will they do it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But and then I think a Big 12 team gets in over Oregon. I just don't think Oregon's done anything. Kind of like Indiana. Indiana's undefeated. They haven't played anybody. Oregon, they've only played Indiana and they lost to Indiana. So I would put a Big 12 team over Oregon. But when you think about it, I I kind of feel like they want to have a West Coast team in there. BYU is mountain time, but I think just ratings wise, I think Oregon will get in, but I think it should be BYU if they make it to the Big 12 championship. And I'm not saying it's a guarantee that Texas Tech beats them again, but Texas Tech is probably the better team. So I think there's a couple spots. I think Texas is out and should be out, even if they beat Texas A&M. I don't believe Texas should be in over. I don't even think Texas should be in over Oregon. Definitely not over Miami or Notre Dame. But we'll have to wait and see. There's a two weeks in championship week. We had some crazy. Who was the who was the team that got left out last year after the SMU Clemson game where Clemson stole a bid, SMU still gets in. Who was the team that got bumped out? Ole Miss, right? But Ole Miss lost to Florida, so in my opinion, I thought they didn't deserve to go get in.
So the teams that the top four teams that were just left out last year were three SEC teams and Miami. So it
Oh,
was
Miami was the other one. Okay.
I don't remember the order here, but I think it was Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, or Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and then
Alabama
Miami.
was the other one. That's right. And South Carolina, and they were arguing because they beat Alabama, correct? Straight up last year.
Bama beat South Carolina last year.
Oh, okay. So South Carolina, Shane Bieber, yeah, they don't deserve to. They didn't deserve to be in last year, but he's guaranteeing that they'll be in the conference championship or the college football playoff next season, but I don't even think he'll be the head coach there. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And I also think ESPN loves to kind of play up the dramatics with, get people tuned into that last day. Um, to see who gets in. I do think if Miami wins out, Notre Dame wins out, I think Miami's going to bump Notre Dame, but the committee is praying Oregon goes and wins out. That way they don't have to, make these tough decisions. But I still think BYU should be in over Oregon and Miami in over Notre Dame, which leaves the ACC championship spot, I believe. So those, if everything else stays the same, that's what I'm thinking right now is ACC champion, Miami over Notre Dame, and then BYU or Utah over Oregon due to strength of schedule. But we'll see. Maybe your Washington Huskies pull off that upset. But the committee, I guarantee you, they're going to be praying for Oregon to win out that game.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, John. That Washington Wisconsin game still just breaks my heart because had Washington won that game, assuming, and I guess it's not fair to assume with Washington on the road this season, last couple years, but let's say Washington beat Wisconsin and then they play UCLA this week. They're favored by a similar margin as to what they were against Wisconsin. Let's
Yeah.
just assume that Washington had taken care of business in Madison and they beat UCLA this week. If Washington were to play like their usual self at home and take down Oregon, I think Washington may have made the playoff.
Yeah,
But
I mean it's possible because if you think about it, yeah, Oregon's a 10-point favorite on Saturday, but they still have to play USC. And if I'm not mistaken, USC is pretty highly ranked. So if they win that game, I think they flop in with Oregon possibly, or maybe they throw in another Big 12 school. But let's not count out USC. I don't think they're going to beat Oregon just because of USC's defense, but it's still a possibility. That's why they play the game. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of mini playoff games, like I like to say, leading up to the college football playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. But nothing is a guarantee so far.
yeah, and I don't think this will happen. I talked about this last week on the show. Mississippi State has a ton of injuries right now, just overall on the depth chart, and that showed up
Yeah.
against Missouri. Because I don't think Missouri is really all that great. Well, at least on one side of the ball right now.
Hmm.
Um, so again, I don't think this will happen. But if Mississippi State ends up beating Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, it's going to be played in Starkville. Ole Miss likes to play in a lot of close games. They've played in a lot of close games this year. They kind of played at their opponent's level. Mississippi State, before all these injuries, have been keeping a lot of games close. It's a rivalry. Anything can happen. It's on the road for Ole Miss. So if Mississippi State actually somehow pulls it off, and Mississippi State might be, hang on, let me pull up Mississippi State's schedule because they only have 5 wins right now. I got to
Yeah.
see.
I don't know who
So
they played. I think they're off this week.
that would make sense. Yep. So they'll be playing for a bowl game in that
Yeah,
in that
and
spot.
and Mississippi State's, they've won the Egg Bowl. And they've gotten the upset over Ole Miss with a worse team as well. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to think what year that was. That has to be at least 3 or 4
2022.
years. Okay, was that DK Metcalf year? AJ
Oh,
Brown?
so in
That's way older. No,
2018, Mississippi State beat Ole Miss.
as like a what? Like a does it say? I'm trying to think. I want to say they won when they were about a 14-point underdog at least. Gosh, I don't know the year, but I want to say it's happened within the last
They beat them in
five
20.
years.
They beat them in 2019 as well to get to a bowl game. Mississippi State
Okay,
did. 2020.
it's possible.
No, that wasn't close. Well, it was close, but they didn't win. 2021, they lost by 10. 2022. This is probably the game that you're talking about. In 2022,
Uh-huh.
Mississippi State played at Ole Miss and won 24-22.
Okay, I
Let's
think
see.
that's the game
Do they have
I'm
the
thinking
odds
of.
here? DDSN Nation, y'all can probably pull it up to see what the odds were.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
trying to.
that matchup predictor gave Ole Miss about a 65% chance to win that game going into it.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll
Ole
have to
Miss
pull
was.
up the. Okay, but it's next week, so I won't be able to pull it up. But okay, yeah. So get back on track, and also I think there's a scenario where if A&M loses, and even Alabama's got to play at Auburn, night game for the first time I believe in close to 10 years. So that's not a given for Alabama either. And there's a chance where Georgia makes the SEC championship. So there's a lot that is still at play here, a lot of mini playoff games and implications. So it's going to be interesting the way it plays out at the end of the season with the amount of parity and situations that are available. I think definitely more than there was last season. I'm trying to think. I think just like the Big 12, ACC was kind of in the air last year, but we'll see what happens. A lot at stake the next 2 weeks, and especially the last week of the season, rivalry week. I can't wait for that. But let's go ahead and jump into this week's games. We'll go ahead and start with if we have anything for this or today rather, and then we have Thursday games. I believe there's one or two on Friday, and then we'll jump into the Saturday games like normal. I know I have my plays ready. Connor will have a couple. You ready to jump
I sure am.
into it?
I sure am.
All right, let's do it. All right. We've got two MAC games, so a little bit of action tonight. Do you have anything on either one of these games? Miami, Ohio at Buffalo, Central Michigan at Kent State. I know I don't have any, so I'm just checking if you do.
I do not. Um, Man, these games normally come down to the wire. So I don't. By the way, though, speaking of these G5 versus G5 matchups, Maction, these
Yeah.
sicko mode kind of games, DDSN Nation, I'm going to have an article talking about my way too early look aheads and futures for next year and what I'm looking at doing, how I'm going to manage it a little bit differently moving forward in this new landscape of college football. The preseason win totals, John. I don't mean to completely switch the subject here, but I just want to briefly bring
Yeah.
this up. In 2023 and 2024, the preseason win totals were fantastic. They were. I finished 8 of 11 in 2023. If you followed my college football page, I included Rutgers. I did not include that in the preview magazine. So I ended up going 7 for 10 in the preview magazine, both in 2023, and then last year I went 7 for 9. So it's been good, but I'm gonna have to kind of change it up a little bit because the landscape is changing, and I need to change with it. So with that being
There you
said,
go.
um, with these Maction games, I'm probably not gonna have anything on them.
Yeah. Neither do I. I don't have anything for today's games. I haven't looked into them. It's Maction. Anything can happen. I don't care to watch them, to be frank about it. All right, tomorrow, UL Lafayette at Arkansas State. Red Wolves laying 2.5. You have anything there?
I don't.
All right, Friday night we've got two pretty decent games. Florida State laying 4.5 at North Carolina State. This is a 7 p.m. kick. You got anything for this game?
Um, no, I am curious to see how NC State bounces back. I mean, my gosh, that was
They
just
got killed, didn't they?
yeah, it was bad. Uh, they didn't look good against Miami at all. Um, like NC State's defense, I figured was not going to be quite like it normally is for this season, and it hasn't been good. But the offense has been good, if not really good at times. They were fantastic against Georgia Tech a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
obviously. But they've been a little bit hit or miss this year, so I don't really know what to make of this NC State team. I don't know what
Yeah,
to make of Florida State
and
either.
and I agree. North Carolina State coming off an embarrassing game at home, hosting Florida State Friday night game. I would say expect the unexpected. CJ Bailey's a game quarterback. As long as he's starting, North Carolina could do something. So this line kind of tells me that North Carolina State probably going to win this game, or it's going to come down to a field goal. No way am I going to lay 4.5 on the road with Florida State. I just feel like North Carolina State's a well-coached team, and if this is a spot for them to bounce back, it'll be this game. I probably am not going to bet on it, but if I was, it would be on North Carolina State. Just the line screams upset for the Wolfpack, in my opinion. All right, a 9:30 kick. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at the UNLV Rebels. Rebels laying 3 points here. Juice to the Rainbow Warriors, though. You have anything in this game?
I agree with it being juiced to Hawaii. I think Hawaii is a better team. Um, I might make this a best bet. I might tweet this out tomorrow or Friday.
Hmm.
But I lean Hawaii here. I don't think UNLV is nearly as good as its record. They should honestly be about a 500 team right now, but they're not.
Right.
Hawaii, I think, is every bit as good as its record. Now, do you trust Hawaii on the road? That's the biggest question. And Hawaii is actually going to have a decent amount of fans there. There's actually a lot of Hawaii residents that live in Las Vegas. Um, so I don't think this is going to be like some tremendous home environment for UNLV. It's just that anytime Hawaii plays on the mainland, when you got the time change, you just have to factor that in a little bit. So that would be my only hesitation here. But I lean Hawaii here.
Okay. Yeah. Did UNL? Well, first, has Hawaii won a road game this season?
They have. Um, they've won actually two road games this year.
Two.
They
Okay.
won at Air Force, and then they won at Colorado State. Now,
Okay.
that was Air Force when they had Liam Zarka at quarterback, who they don't have healthy right now. I think Zarka might be out for the rest of the year, actually. So that was an impressive win, 44-35, a lot of points. And Air Force's defense at that time was not playing well at all. Colorado State, not good at all. And so they won, took care of business there. And then, but they've only played four road games up to this point, and they've won
Hmm.
half of them. And their other two road games, I mean, San Jose State, who's better than their record, but not
Yeah.
that good of a team this year. They lost 45-38 and probably could have lost that game by more. And then they lost at Arizona 40-6. So I still don't know what to make of Hawaii completely just yet on the road, but they're improved this year and they're still a pretty good team. And like I said, I think they are the better team than UNLV. It's just that it's not like UNLV is a heavy favorite here, and you're still having to play Hawaii with a short spread on the road. That's why it's like, can I make it a best bet? I might, but it's a lean as of right now.
Okay. All right.
If this
Perfect.
were
Let's
being
move.
played in Hawaii, I would be all over the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah. And did UNLV win last week? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember who they played.
UNLV pulled it out. They got lucky again. I think UNLV is the luckiest team in the country this season.
Who did they play?
Utah State. They won in overtime.
Oh, okay. All right. Saturday, 11 a.m. kick. Rutgers at Ohio State. Buckeyes laying 31. Total of 55.5. You have anything here?
No, I mean, I don't trust Rutgers, but if you're Ohio State, do you have to bring your A game here? Because you got Michigan on deck.
Yep.
So I don't like to play these kind of spots.
Yeah, neither do I. Pass for me as well. Tulsa at Army. Cadets laying 10 points here.
At that spread, I kind of lean Tulsa because I don't think Army is really all that great of a team, um, but no play for me.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one. Delaware at Wake Forest. Wake Forest laying 17.5 points.
Is Wake going to even score 17? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question.
No play for me. Delaware, they do have a pretty good offense, but Wake's got a really good defense.
Yeah.
So I don't have any best. I don't have any plays for this game.
Okay. Hurricanes. Miami Hurricanes laying 17.5 at Virginia Tech. Hokies just got a new coach. Anything in this game?
If I had a lean here, it would be to take the Virginia Tech team total under, because honestly, I don't see how Virginia Tech moves the football in this game. They cannot pass block, and Miami can get after you. Miami's pass defense is also much improved this year, thanks in large part to their pass rush, but the coverage has been better on the back end this year, much better than it was last
Mhm.
year. I mean, that was their biggest weakness last season, Miami's secondary. But Virginia Tech, even if they give Kyron Drones time in this game to throw, they don't really have the receivers this season to beat the Miami secondary,
Yeah.
outside of maybe Aiden Green, but that's about it if you're Virginia Tech. And again, I don't even know if they're going to be able to block. Virginia Tech has been such a one-dimensional offense this year, running the football. They're decent at running the football. They're not going to be able to do that against Miami. So now, do I trust Miami to cover a large number? I know they just did it last week, but by and large, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Because it's Mario Cristobal. He's going to be conservative at some point in the game. So the only way that I would look at this game and play it would be to take the Virginia Tech team total under 14 and a half. As of now, I don't have any best bets on this game. We'll see where if I do later on this week.
Okay. Yeah, same here. Nothing for me. Virginia Tech, don't know what you can get. Miami should blow them out like they did with North Carolina State, but not something I'm willing to gamble on. Mizzou, the Tigers at Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner laying 7.5 points. Anything here?
This will be part of another three-way money line parlay. Give me Oklahoma straight up. I could see a scenario where OU covers, similar to the Miami Virginia Tech game. I don't know how Missouri is going to be putting up many points against this OU defense. Missouri is very much one dimensional right now. Yes, I know they have looked great at times this year, especially against subpar defenses. But, John, as you said at the beginning of the show, this OU defense is legit.
Yeah.
OU wins not because of their offense and John Mateer, like everyone likes to talk about. It's their defense. Look, John Mateer has improved the offense, but not by that much. It's the OU defense.
Yeah.
And so, like, OU's been getting outgained the last two games by a considerable margin, and they still win. Why? Because of their defense. So, now, OU coming off the big emotional win against Alabama. Like, what do we expect from the Sooners, specifically on offense? Missouri's got a good defense, too. So, like, this could be a rock fight, but I don't see how Missouri puts up many points here. Now, the Missouri team total is 16 and a half, 17, 17 and a half. Only reason why I'm not going to make that the best bet here is because I just like OU to find a way to win again, especially at home. They play against Missouri and LSU at home to finish out the season. Two teams that are kind of limping right now offensively.
Yeah.
If OU takes care of business, they're in the playoff probably. So I like OU to take care of business here on out. So give me OU on the money line. I'll include this as a three-part money line parlay. Another reason why I don't want to take the Missouri team total under is because OU. Is there a slight chance? The only way Missouri scores points here is if OU gets off to a slow start. Could that happen? Maybe. Maybe it doesn't happen and OU just leans on its defense and they win a rock fight like 20-13. That could happen as well. So I like OU outright. So
Yeah, no play for me here. Oklahoma, after that win against Alabama, they don't need style points. They win Saturday, they win against LSU. They're in the playoff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they'll be happy to win by 3 points, 4 points. They don't need to put on a show like some of these other schools may have to. So laying more than a touchdown. I think they're a much better team than Missouri, in my opinion, especially with Mizzou's quarterback injuries. So as long as they stop the run and force the Tigers to pass, they're going to have trouble. Does that mean I want to lay it? If this gets down to 7, it'll be intriguing. But right now, at 7.5, a lot of their games were 7. The Michigan game was 7. The Auburn game, both of those games were at home. They were at 7. I mean, all three of those teams are about the same. They don't really have offense, decent defenses. So the number's about right. Maybe this count gets down to 7. You back Oklahoma, potential letdown spot. But I don't know. The Sooner team's just turned it up since that Tennessee game. So, well, since the Ole Miss loss, they've looked like a completely different team against Tennessee, against Alabama. So, and I don't think very highly of Missouri here. So nothing for me. We'll see how this line moves, but I do trust Oklahoma running game and their defense. All right, let's see here. This messed up. Okay. All right, next game. Oh, lost my spot. All right, Louisville at SMU. SMU laying 2.5. You have anything here?
I lean SMU, but I don't want to. I'm going to keep the streak going, John, where you don't have the same game, the same best bet, because I
Okay.
believe you have a best bet for this game. But I lean
Yeah, I
SMU here.
have. Yeah, I appreciate that. And yes, I have SMU. I like SMU here. I don't understand this spread. I didn't understand it last year when SMU was a huge dog at Louisville. I believe they were about a 7 point underdog at Louisville last season. They ended up smoking the Cardinals. As we saw against Clemson, Louisville isn't that great. So if SMU plays some defense here, I think they'll have success against Louisville. Huge letdown spot for the Cardinals. ACC title hopes were smashed against Clemson. SMU's trying to finish the season respectable, maybe get into a nice bowl game here. But yeah, I don't respect Louisville the way that these bookmakers do. Give me SMU minus 2.5. If you want to lay it, $1.36 on the money line to be safe, because SMU does have a shitty kicker. I do not blame you, but you know what? Actually, I will lay the extra 20 cents. The way that Louisville game came down to, you know, crazy special teams and field goals. SMU has a shitty kicker. I'm changing mine to SMU money line. Yeah, I'd rather just have the SMU money line. They've already screwed me in these less than field goal games. I have stayed away from SMU, but I'm positive about this one. Um, but I'd rather lay the money line with both of those teams. All right, Kansas at Iowa State. Cyclones laying 4 points. You have anything here?
No, I don't. I think I've had three Big 12 plays all year. It hasn't been many, maybe four. I know I had Texas Tech against BYU minus 9.5. That
Uh-huh.
cashed. I remember I had Cincinnati money line against Iowa State back in early October. That cashed. Oh, I guess I had a part of a play last week with this past week with Utah a money line against Baylor as
Yeah.
part of a three-way parlay that cashed. And I think I've lost one time. Yeah, I had the Utah money line against BYU. So I'm 3-1 in Big 12 plays this year, but I don't have anything here.
Okay. Yeah, and me either. Iowa State, I don't, you can't trust them. Same thing with Kansas. Every game comes down to the last second. So, no, thank you. Minnesota. Oh, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say I'm 3-2. I had that money line parlay a couple weeks ago with Louisiana Tech against Delaware, and then I had the TCU against Iowa State.
That's right.
That was horrible. So I'm 3-2, and both of my losses. Let's see, the TCU and the Utah one kind of surprised me. So
Yeah. All right. Next game, Minnesota at Northwestern. Wildcats laying 3.5 points. You have anything here?
no, uh, that's a pretty fair spread though. Like I don't think either of these teams are that great. I think both are worse than their records right now.
Hmm.
I think Northwestern though is actually the better team, not by
Yeah.
much. But I think this is a pretty fair number and pretty fair spread. So I don't have anything for this game.
Yeah. Same here. My rule is with these lower tier Big Ten games, if there's a hook on the field goal, I stay away from it. If you lay it, I almost guarantee you this game would land 3 points. Northwestern will probably win by 3 points. So if you want to find an exacta something exact score, Northwestern to win by 3, go ahead and bet that because
Yeah,
I
really.
can almost guarantee you this game will land Northwestern minus or winning by 3 points.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, because every time, especially in Minnesota games, these lower level, if it's a 3.5, almost every time the game comes down to a field goal. So yeah, I want nothing to do with that game. I've won one with Northwestern, I've lost one, and I don't want to press my luck here again with the Wildcats. All right, next game. Charlotte at Georgia. Bulldogs laying 43.5 points in a little tune-up game before their matchup with Georgia Tech in Atlanta. You have anything here?
I don't think I'm going to have any best bets here, but I do have an interesting nugget about this matchup. So, Kirby Smart, the head coach at Georgia, has never covered a spread when Georgia has been at least a 38-point favorite. He's 0, 14, and 1. He's pushed once, but he's never won when Georgia has been a favorite of 38 or more. And Charlotte is currently a 43.5, 44-point underdog, depending on where you look. So,
Mhm.
I mean, from that alone, you would think, oh, Charlotte, best bet, right? I
Yeah.
mean, from history, maybe. I cannot get behind this Charlotte team, though.
Yeah, same. You see a trend like that, and you're like, oh, guarantee it, and then they lose by 45 points, and you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah, yeah. That
So no,
honestly, that could be another exact score
yeah,
bet.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. All right, next game. I don't know if you'll have anything here, but I'm curious. Washington State at James Madison. Duke's laying 13 and a half.
I don't really know how to feel about this matchup. Like, I don't even have any leans here. So you guys know I've loved this JMU team this year. I thought they'd play for the Sun Belt title. I was already planning to hedge if Southern Miss does end up playing for the Sun Belt title. I am going to hedge that because JMU, by the way, has already locked up the East Division. So JMU is going to play for the Sun Belt title regardless of what happens over the next 2 weeks. Obviously, this is a non-conference game. They still have to play at Coastal Carolina. I'll have a little bit more on Coastal, some information regarding Coastal later on in the show. But with JMU, they've been covering a lot here recently. Um, but I not that I think Washington State is a that good of a team this year, but I do think Washington State is better than the majority of the Sun Belt. I think the Sun Belt is kind of down this year. So I don't really know how to feel. Does JMU put up another big number trying to impress the committee because they left them unranked? Maybe. Or is Washington State better than we think, and or maybe better than the rest of the Sun Belt by a bigger margin than what we think, and maybe Washington State could actually keep this one interesting? I could see that as well. So I don't have any strong leans here.
Okay. Next game, noon kickoff. Baylor at Arizona. Wildcats laying 6.5 points. Coming off a huge upset over Cincinnati.
Yeah, I almost include that as a best bet last week too. I
That's what I
thought
remember.
I've never really been in love with the Cincinnati team, but I did love them against Iowa State a month and a half ago. Loved them
Yeah.
in that spot. I don't really know how to feel about this matchup either because I don't think Arizona is like some widely undervalued team. So I'm not just willing to kind of put on a blindfold and bet Arizona to cover any spread less than a touchdown when they're laying
Yeah.
6, 6.5. But Baylor has also been terrible against the spread this year, and it's because they have one of the worst defenses in the entire Power Four. The offense is legit with
Mhm.
Robertson a quarterback. I don't really know how to feel about this matchup. Do you?
Yeah, no, nothing for me. I think Arizona matches up well, but of course, you get to these 6.5, 7 point spreads. You never know. But yeah, Arizona should be able to take care of Baylor pretty easily. But again, what do we have? Arizona State next week, maybe a little look ahead spot. I don't think so, just because ASU's down right now. But I'm not gonna have a bet here. But there's no way I could take Baylor. It would be blindly betting Arizona, and I'd be fine with that. But I probably won't have a ticket here. All right. All right. Here's an interesting one. Your Yukon Huskies laying 7 at Florida Atlantic. Anything in that game?
No, I do not have anything here. Do you?
I skipped over a Mac. I don't know if you have anything here. I'll just bring it up. Ball State, Toledo, anything?
Nope. No,
All
I
right.
don't.
Nevada at Wyoming.
offenses are so bad. It's like you just want to take the under there. But no, I don't have anything for that game.
Okay. Um,
Actually, hold on here. Let me look at the what the Nevada team total is because I think Wyoming. Let me see. Yeah, Wyoming's still technically playing for a bowl game here, so I would imagine they'll be motivated. Um,
and it's a home
so
game for Wyoming, so
right. Yeah, let me see what the Nevada team total is. It's gonna be low though. It's probably gonna be like 16 and a half, maybe not even that high. 13 and a half, maybe. 16 and a half. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty low. Yeah, I don't have anything on this game.
okay, no problem. Yeah, Connecticut laying 7 at Florida Atlantic. You have anything there?
Let me see. No, I do not.
Okay, let's see. Okay, where are you? 2 p.m. kick. Sam Houston State at Middle Tennessee. Anything there?
No, but I believe you may have something.
I do. I do. All right. I'll say this. I was way too early on the Sam Houston train. I had Sam Houston the first 2 weeks of the season, and then I found out they're the worst team in the country. But now they're on a little 2 game winning streak. They knocked down, sorry to bring it up, but they knocked down Oregon State
Yeah.
and they won last weekend. I forget who they played, but was it Rice? They won. And now they're getting 7 points. Yeah, it's on the road, but against a Middle Tennessee team that's lost 8 games in a row, I believe. They shouldn't be favored over anybody by 7 points, but they are in this game. I'm going to go ahead and jump back on the Sam Houston train and see if they can get another win. As long as they cover, I'll be happy. But the Blue Raiders shouldn't be favored over anybody by a touchdown. I
Yeah,
think
probably not. Um, by the way, Sam Houston last week beat Delaware.
it
That's
was Delaware. Oh, that's a pretty good win. All right. I was curious if you had anything on this game, and that's Liberty at Louisiana Tech. This keeps bouncing back and forth. 1 point. I've seen Louisiana Tech favored by 1 point. Earlier today, Liberty was favored by 1 point. Do you have anything in this game?
I lean Louisiana Tech plus the points. So on the
Okay.
money line essentially for this game. But here's the thing: Louisiana Tech has a bunch of quarterback injuries right now. Louisiana Tech has not been a healthy team really since Sam Houston. So I'm not going to have any best bets for this game, but hopefully Louisiana Tech can get to 500 here because they still have to play at Missouri State. So by the way, um, Louisiana Tech came into the season with no doubt their most talented team in the Sonny Cumbie era. So this is still Cumbie's best team, but they have really underperformed this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there are not going to be many teams in the G5 next year that I'm looking to sell just because most of these G5 teams are pretty mid and like they're all beating up
Yeah.
on each other because there's the the worst G5 teams have higher floors now than they used to for two reasons. One, the transfer portal kind of spreads out the talent, especially for these G5 teams. And then second, because of the transfer portal, the better players from like the decent G5 teams, maybe not the great, well, the great teams are going to lose their good talent to the Power 4 and a couple, to graduation, maybe a few to the NFL draft. But even like the middle G5 teams, like that are decent, maybe they've had a couple of standout individuals, they're going to lose a lot of their production to the portal, and it's going to put them on an even level playing field, or at least more so closer playing field to a level playing field to what they would have been otherwise. And so it's not that these bottom tier G5 teams are all that great or that they are that much better than they are projected to be. It's just that the middle of the G5 is not as good as it used to be. So
Mm.
it's creating a lack of separation, and basically it's watering down these middle to bottom tier G5 teams, putting them all at the same level. So where I'm getting at here is Louisiana Tech, talent wise this year, had one of the better rosters in Conference USA, and yet they're going to be fighting to make a bowl game. Now, yes, the injuries haven't helped, but the coaching has not been good for Louisiana Tech. They are also the most penalized team in Conference USA. Louisiana Tech is not going to be a part of Conference USA next year, and they're going to be losing a lot of their talented players, especially on defense, to graduation, couple probably to the NFL, and then maybe a couple to the Power Four. So moving to the Sun Belt next year, the not that the difficulty is going to be that much enhanced, but the Sun Belt is better than Conference USA, and Louisiana Tech talent wise will be worse. Coaching wise will be the same if Cumbie is still there. If Cumbie is still in Ruston in 2026, they might be one of the few G5 teams that I'll look to sell.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a lot for Louisiana Tech there, but I don't have much about this matchup on Liberty, but just to give y'all a futures reference
Yeah.
there for next year.
All right, next game. South Florida laying 21.5 at UAB. Anything here?
No, still disappointed in USF last week against Navy, but oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, me either. All right, 2:30 kick. Duke Blue Devils laying 6.5 at North Carolina. Anything in this game?
um, no, no. I think it'd be funny if North Carolina won, but I don't have anything here.
Okay. Yeah, me either. Totals at 51.5. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't have anything in that game. Next game, Arkansas Razorbacks at Texas. Longhorns laying 9.5. Anything here?
Say that matchup again. I'm sorry.
Arkansas at
Oh,
Texas. Longhorns laying 9.5 points.
no, this is kind of a tricky spot for Texas. And Arkansas
Yep.
has been really good ATS this year. Just they can't win.
Yep.
They,
Can't
they
win.
struggle in close games. Maybe it's another close game. So I guess I lean Arkansas, but I don't. I'm not going to have any best bets for this game.
Yeah, me either. I kind of lean Arkansas, but the thing is, Texas did look improved offensively, especially with Arch Manning, but nobody could catch the football. And they didn't even try running the ball. After the first drive against Georgia, Texas didn't even try to run it again. I believe Wisner only had like 5 carries, and half of those came on the first drive of the game. I don't know what's going on with this UT team right now. The defense, who has plenty of talent, definitely more talent than a lot of teams do. They just are no showing each game, and it's getting worse. And the one thing Arkansas can do is move the football. But I thought Arkansas could do that last year, and Texas killed them. So, or no, actually, that was a close game, wasn't it? Arkansas, Texas last season.
Let me pull it up.
I think that game. I think they were favored by 14 points last year, and it was kind of a closer game, if I'm remembering correctly.
They didn't play last year.
The year before.
Yes, yeah, that's the year. Texas beat Ark. Well, hold on. This is Alabama. What the heck? My computer's been glitching with this recently. Whenever I go from one team to another
No.
and I go to their schedule, sometimes it'll pull up the previous team's schedule that I just had their tabs
Hmm.
on. So, yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Okay, Texas. Texas did play
Some.
Arkansas last year. Sorry.
Yeah.
They won at Arkansas 20-10, so it was kind of
Okay, it
close.
was a close game because I'm pretty sure the spread was 14 points, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is one where maybe if it was still at that opening number of 11, I'd take a shot with Arkansas. But I do feel like Texas will be fine in this game. But it's a terrible sandwich spot. It was for them last year, so you never know. and Arkansas can move the football, give the UT defense trouble. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I passed this game, so nothing for me here. Next game, USC at Oregon. The Ducks laying 10 points. You have anything in this game?
No, I don't. I
Yeah,
thought about it, but
yeah, same here. I kind of flirted with USC plus 10,
yeah.
but I'm not. Every time I watch USC, Jordan Mayava, he's not that great. I mean, he has like one or two good throws, but if you watch the games, these USC wide receivers are incredible. They make diving catches, leaping catches, 3 feet. I mean, it's insane. His accuracy problems are covered up by how amazing these wide receivers are. I think going up against a tough defense like Oregon's, it's going to give him trouble and the wide receivers. So I don't know how they're going to be, but at least they have a good offensive line. But again, USC's trying to build up that defense. It's just not where they need it to be right now on a national level. So I don't know how they're going to do against Oregon, but yeah, I just think they're going to struggle against the Oregon defense. That's why I didn't want to take the 10 points here. I passed. All right, next game, Michigan State at Iowa. Hawkeyes laying 17 points. Anything here?
No, this feels like it's going to be an ugly game, but Iowa is just going to grind it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I think it'll play out. We talk about this almost every week, but my rule kind of is if Michigan State's getting more than two touchdowns, more than 14 points, they've been a pretty good bet this year, and I've been on them every single time, and they've cashed every single time. But I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it because Iowa actually has a legit defense, and Michigan State has a terrible quarterback. So I don't think I'm gonna take the chance here with Michigan State, even though I do think they could keep it close. Iowa's got Nebraska on deck, and it will be Senior Day because I believe that Nebraska game's on the road. So yeah, I want nothing to do with Michigan State in this game, and I'm
Yeah,
not laying 17 points with Iowa.
yeah, and the Michigan State team total 13 and a half. Like,
Wow. Yeah,
and
that.
Michigan State's been good in garbage time this year, so I'm not going to mess with that.
Yeah, same here. Next game, 2:30, East Carolina laying 2.5 points at UTSA. You have anything here?
Hmm. Oh, I definitely lean UTSA, but I think somebody else on the show also has the best bet, so I'm not going to do it
Yeah,
at the same time.
I'm in the same boat. I'm gonna ride UTSA here, home game.
I like it.
They are the exact definition of Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Amazing at home, one of the worst road teams you'll ever find. But I like UTSA. I thought they would be favored by 2.5, 3 points here, but no, they're a dog here. They love being an underdog. They love that underdog mentality, especially in the Alamo Dome. Yeah, give me UTSA plus 2.5. I think they'll still win the game outright. Um, it's not that big of a difference here, so yeah, give me the home team. I think UTSA again will show up for the home crowd. All right. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt laying 9.5 points. Anything in this game?
Uh, you said Vanderbilt, Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
No, I lean Vandy. I lean Vandy, and this is going to be so. I certainly think Vanderbilt's winning outright. Um, so I'm going to make this part of that three-way money line parlay.
Okay.
So I don't have any. I don't have anything against the spread for this game, but yeah, give me Vanderbilt outright. So again, this is going to be part of a three-way money line parlay. Vandy, Oklahoma, both outright, and then you'll hear about my third team later on in the show.
All right. All right. Yeah, I mean Vanderbilt. This is the largest favorite they've been in SEC play. They went from 3 points to 6 points, 6.5 now to 7 points, and now 9.5 point favorite. They almost lost outright to Auburn. Way too many points for me to lay with Vanderbilt, but I also don't want to take Kentucky. Kentucky somehow does great whenever I don't bet on. Whenever I do bet on Kentucky, they don't have a defense. Whenever I whenever I do bet on Kentucky, they don't have a defense. Whenever I don't bet on them, they have the best defense in the country. So I'm gonna stay away here. Vanderbilt's got Tennessee on deck. I believe that's is that a road game or a home game for Commodores? I think that might be in Nashville, but I don't know for sure. But they do play Tennessee next week, and potential, they Vanderbilt still has a little bit of CFP hopes to make the playoffs. It's a
And
possibility.
Vanderbilt's coming off a bye week for this game. So I lean Vandy here. Kentucky's also not been a good road team this season. I know they beat Auburn, but that was about Auburn, not really about Kentucky. Um, so I lean obviously I lean Vandy here straight up. I mean that's going to be part of a best bet with a three-way
Yeah.
money line parlay. But I also lean Vanderbilt against the spread. But that's not going to be my best bet for this matchup. Vanderbilt again coming off a bye week. They still have playoff aspirations. So yeah, I like Vandy. I like Vandy in this spot for sure outright.
Did USC cover against Iowa last week?
No, in
It
fact,
was a
they had to
full.
fight back just to win that game.
Yeah,
But
I know Iowa had the lead for a lot of that game.
in these kind of games, that's why I like the money line parlay. So I'm 1-2 with the money line parlay this year, and a lot of that has to do with TCU and Louisiana Tech just absolutely choking a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago in their games, and then this past week, I was just surprised about USF against Navy, but I've won those other games, and I won the money line parlay about a month ago with Georgia and Alabama.
Yep.
I feel great about this three-way money line parlay because I just need these teams to win, and I think OU is going to take care of business at home. I think Vanderbilt is going to take care of business at home, and this next team that I'm going to talk about, I think will take care of business at home.
Well, you have anything in this game? Southern Miss landed 1.5 points at South Alabama.
No, so DDSN Nation, I've rode this Golden Eagle train this year. They've been cashing for me every single week, and then I finally lost for the first time with Southern Miss last week against Texas State. Southern Miss only a 1.5, 2.5 point favorite in this game. That's kind of scares me. And it's like, does Vegas know something here? Now, Southern Miss, I'll say like yardage margin has not been like fantastic this year, but they force turnovers like crazy, and they've got some pretty good skill players. Southern Miss does. I don't want to make this a best bet. I mean, I lean Southern Miss here, but Southern Miss, regardless of what happens in this game, they need to win the next week at home against Troy to lock up the West Division. So I think that's the game that matters more for Southern Miss, and so I'll probably have a best bet on that game, but not on this game with them being on the road.
Okay. All right, next game. Syracuse at Notre Dame. Irish laying 35 points here. You have anything?
I know that's a high number. I kind of lean Notre Dame still.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, way too many points for me at
Yeah.
least.
What hang on. The better way to play this would be like take Notre Dame in the first half to cover because Syracuse is still going to be going with that lacrosse kid at quarterback,
Oh wow.
and their offense is not going to do anything at least early on. But Syracuse under Fran Brown, they're pretty good in garbage time. So late in the
Hmm.
game, I could see there being a bad beat in a game like
Yeah.
that. But in the first half, you best believe I think Notre Dame is going to handle business. And like obviously they're going to win.
Yeah.
I just don't know. That's a high number. Let me see here. Notre Dame.
21 and a half looks like to be the first half spread.
Dang it. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty high mark. And Notre Dame will be able to do whatever they want with their rushing attack against the Syracuse run defense. So, how much time does Notre Dame take off the clock with their possessions? We'll see. That's what would matter if you're going to take Notre Dame
Yeah.
minus 21.5 in the first half. So it's obviously it's above a key number there. So I don't have any best bets for this matchup.
Okay. All right. Next game. Tulane laying 80.5 at Temple. Anything here?
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. Same here. Um, Here is a 3 p.m. kick. I don't know if you have anything, but Oklahoma State at Central Florida. Knights laying 14 points.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I just got a text as you were saying that.
Oklahoma State at Central Florida. Central Florida laying 14.
No, I don't have anything for this matchup. Do you?
Yeah, same. No, not at all. Oklahoma State
Yeah.
did cover against Kansas State, though.
Yeah.
But no, nothing here. Michigan laying 13.5 at Maryland. Anything in this game?
I kind of lean Maryland here.
Look ahead
Um,
spot for Michigan.
it is on the road. Maryland's still playing for a bowl game. Typically in these matchups with the Wolverines, Maryland has been keeping it close the last couple few years,
Yeah.
and Michigan has not been that great of an ATS team this year. They have not been covering these larger spreads. Michigan is one of, if not the youngest team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think Maryland might keep this one interesting. John, I might have a best bet on this later in the week. I haven't done enough research into this matchup, but I might have something here because like everything about this spot, I don't know if it screams Maryland, but I lean Maryland.
Yeah, I would like to get at least 14 points here, but I agree
Yeah.
with you. All right. TCU at Houston. Cougars laying a point. You have anything here?
With the way TCU's been playing, I could only bet Houston in a matchup like this, and I think that's what you might be doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't like TCU. Looks like the pitchforks and flames are out for Sonny Dykes in Fort Worth, and this may be the nail in the coffin. I think the Cougars get it done here. They take down TCU. They fire Sonny Dykes, and TCU joins the coaching carousel. Who knows who they might hire? They may get old Sonny Cumby. They may go
Oh heck no,
after Eric
they
Morris.
they don't want
Um,
Cumby. They don't. Sonny Dykes to Cumby is a downgrade.
yeah, I probably would agree with that. But you never know, and who knows what TCU does. But I do think Houston wins here. I don't agree with the spread. Even TCU's taking money. It's juiced to the Horned Frogs. I like Houston here. I believe Cougars are coming off of a bye week. I think. I don't remember who they played last week, so it might have been a bye.
Yeah, Houston's coming off a bye.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then -1 with the Cougars. I'm gonna lay it. Wrong team. I don't agree with the spread. I love Houston here. Houston's coming off of a bad loss, I believe, and the bye week. Um, no, actually, they beat Central Florida. I take that back. So I love Houston here. I don't agree with the spread. It should be closer to 3 points. Give me the Cougars. 3 p.m. Kansas State at Utah. Utes laying 17 points at home. Juice to Utah minus $1.20. You have anything in this game?
I mean, I lean Utah for two reasons. One, they're playing at home. It's a Big 12 matchup. I normally just go with the home team. But second, K State's not fully healthy right now, especially offensively, and they definitely showed that against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
By the way, Oklahoma State actually outplayed Kansas State, so congratulations to Oklahoma State. They actually finally won a box score in a game.
Yeah.
So,
That's shocking.
um, and then Utah has just been they've been a juggernaut this year outside of the two games that they've lost essentially. So
Okay.
I lean Utah here, but I can't quite make it a best bet because Utah, outside of the games that they have lost, so in all of their victories against, except for maybe Cincinnati, they really haven't faced all that great a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think K State's an amazing team, especially not right now. So, like, I could see Utah covering this, but you could also convince me, hey, K State's better than a lot of the teams that Utah's faced in their victories, and K State covers here. I could see it going either way here. I don't have any strong leans really.
Okay. All
Not
right.
not not strong leans at least.
I know you brought this game up earlier. I wasn't sure if you had anything here, but Coastal Carolina at South Carolina, Gamecocks laying 24 points.
If Coastal Carolina had their starting quarterback for this game, I would be all over Coastal Carolina. But Coastal's starting quarterback is out for the season.
Mm,
He got injured in their previous game against Georgia Southern. So
okay.
I'm going to stay away from this game. But the spot here screams Coastal Carolina. So a couple things about South Carolina. Number one, they are no longer eligible for a bowl game after their loss to A&M. Second thing, and I'll carry off of that previous point with the A&M game, how in the world do the Gamecocks bounce back after a loss like that? So I if Coastal if I felt confident about Coastal's backup quarterback situation, I would be all over the Chanticleers here.
Hmm.
And maybe they still cover. Maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But I don't know if you're South Carolina how you bounce back from that in any respect. And then South Carolina, to add on to it, has Clemson next week. Like, do they
That's
really
true.
go all out for this game? I doubt it. And the
Yeah.
fan base, look, that's an underrated atmosphere at Bryce Williams Stadium. But if there is any game where the fan base is not going to be with the team, it's this game after how they lost last week.
Yeah.
So if I felt confident about their backup quarterback, Coastal Carolina plus the points would no doubt be one of my best bets. But I can't quite get there because of the unknowns at quarterback for Coastal.
All right. Yeah, I know you got something in the next game. UL Monroe at Texas State. Bobcats laying 18 points in San Marcos.
Lay it with Texas State. UL Monroe is 2-8 against the spread this year, and they have not covered a game in more than a month's time. They have just been bad down the stretch. Like they're not even showing a pulse. So here's another kind of situational play this time of year. Who's eligible to play for a bowl season, or who is still in the running to play for a bowl game, and who is no longer eligible for a postseason bowl game away from home? UL Monroe. They are 3-7, so they are no longer bowl eligible, regardless of what they do here on out. Meanwhile, Texas State 4-6, and they might be like the best 4-6 G5 team in the country because they've blown like almost every single one of their in their losses. They've blown almost every single one of those chances. So that they are much better than their record. Texas State is. UL Monroe, again, they've been really bad down the stretch, have not covered a game in over a month's time. On the road here, if Texas State were to win out, they're bowl eligible. And their last two opponents, who they both host, UL Monroe, South Alabama. Those are the two worst teams, power ratings wise, in the Sun Belt West Division. So give me Texas State here and lay them. Uh, the best number I can find is what number are you finding? 17 and a half?
I'm seeing 18, but juice to Monroe.
Yeah, so if y'all if you like Tech, okay, I have a 17 and a half at DraftKings. If you like uh, Texas State in this matchup, I might wait um, for a better number later in the week. Wouldn't be shocked if there's a little bit of money for ULM that comes in, but give me Texas State here minus 17 and a half. They should win this game decisively. I
Hmm.
don't think it's going to be close.
Okay.
Real quick, I mean, here's what UL Monroe has done lately. So, way back earlier in the season, they beat Arkansas State. And at that point, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Arkansas State may not make a bowl game. And then since then, these two teams, Arkansas State for that matter too, Arkansas State and ULM have been on complete different trajectories. Here's what ULM has done since their victory against Arkansas State. Lost at Northwestern 42-7. Lost at Coastal Carolina 23-8. Lost to Troy 37-14. Lost at Southern Miss 49-21. A team that Texas State just killed last week at Southern Miss. Lost to Old Dominion 31-6, and then most recently lost to South Alabama at home 26-14. And ULM is going to have back-to-back road games to finish out the season against Texas State and then Louisiana. They have not been covering any of these spreads in conference play outside of their first game in conference against Arkansas State. And now they're going on the road. What's the motivation here for ULM? Like they're beaten down, that they got a ton of injuries. Texas State can still play for a bowl game. I'm laying it with Texas State. I think they are the much better team despite similar records.
All right. All right, 6 o'clock. Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech. Rambling Wreck laying 2.5 points. You have anything here?
No, no, I don't really have any strong leans here.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go ahead and lay it with Georgia Tech. I think the Yellow Jackets get it done. Again, like we talked about, another mini playoff game. Georgia Tech does have Georgia on deck, but it depends. You know, I would say this is the more important game because if they win this game, lose to Georgia, they could still get into the ACC championship game and find their way into the college football playoff. So, in my opinion, this is the more important of the two games. Even though it is in a rivalry game, it's still a game that Georgia Tech needs to win. So, I'm going to go ahead and lay it here. They're the better team. I do not like what I saw from Pittsburgh, although it was against Notre Dame. But still, I don't agree with this number. I thought it would be closer to 3.5 points here. And I don't think this is a look ahead game for Georgia Tech to Georgia because of the ACC championship implications. So I'm laying it 2.5 points with the Yellow Jackets.
Um, and then the Houston play earlier, because it's such a short spread. Do you want to just take Houston on the money line?
-1's fine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So not money line.
Mm-mm.
Is it -1, not -1.5?
It's -1.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Houston will win the game. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they'll win. I feel like the spread should be closer to 3 points. So -1, I believe it's Houston -105, and then the money line would be a little bit more expensive. So I rather just take the cheaper option available.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, next game, Nebraska at Penn State. Nittany Lions laying 9.5. Anything in this game?
Yes. So this will be the third part of that money line parlay. I like Penn
Okay.
State outright here. One thing I've been sure about with Nebraska is their inability to stop the run. What is Penn State going to do? Run the ball right down their throat. Now, look, can Nebraska cover? Sure. Like, if you don't trust Penn State, against the spread this year, I get it. And last week the spot screened Michigan State against Penn State. Penn State won and covered finally. Penn State's much better than the record. I think a lot of people know that, but it's just a matter of covering some of these larger numbers that they may not trust the Nittany Lions with. I could see Penn State covering the spread, John. I don't think this is a good matchup at all for
Yeah.
Nebraska. And do we really know how good this backup quarterback is just yet in a spot like this? Not really for Nebraska. So,
He's not good. He's not good.
so yeah, I lean Penn
Even though he
State
played
here.
amazing against UCLA, but they really didn't score much in the second half. That was all in the first half.
Yeah, so give me Penn State. I lean Penn State against the number as well, but certainly Penn State outright. So, John, go ahead and do the math. What is the price of a Vanderbilt, Penn State, and I'm looking and Oklahoma money line parlay?
It was Oklahoma. Okay.
That should be a decent price.
Let's see here. All right, let me look. Okay, there it is. All right. Penn State at -1 or Penn State money line -335. Vanderbilt money line -360. Oklahoma money line -305. Three-way parlay is +120.
Okay. What was the price last week? Wasn't it like plus 115?
130 something.
Okay.
But they weren't over a touchdown favorite. So USC was -6. South Florida was -10, and then Utah was -9. So a little bit of a difference. Not no, I mean that's kind of close. But yeah, these are just because Penn State's -9.5, Vanderbilt's nine
Minus
and
nine
a
and a half.
half, and Oklahoma's 7.5. So yeah, I mean it's a little different.
I don't think that's a bad play. What do you think?
No, I mean at least these are home teams. Oklahoma's at home, Vanderbilt's at home, and Penn State's at home. Last time they were all three road teams except for USC, I believe.
Right. Um, I thought it'd be a better price because those spreads were not as much as last week. So
Yeah, because you have the two 9.5s, and then
7.5.
yeah, yeah, a little bit. I mean, 20-cent difference, but yeah, plus 120 though. All right, next game, Colorado State at Boise State. Broncos laying 16.5. Anything here?
So Boise's offense has been terrible without the starting quarterback. I haven't looked in to see if their starting quarterback will be back for this game. If he's not, um, how in the world does this total go over? So
45. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, but you never know with Colorado State that they only scored about 17 points against New Mexico, but they had like three turnovers too. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing for me in that game though.
yeah, I don't have anything right now either.
Next game, New Mexico at Air Force. Lobos laying 3.5 points on the road. You have anything in this one?
I lean New Mexico because Air Force is not going to have its starting quarterback.
Okay.
So I lean New Mexico here. And
Okay.
Air Force is not playing for a bowl game either. So
Okay. All right. Tennessee laying 4 points at Florida. Gators, let's see here. This isn't a neutral site game, right?
it's in Gainesville.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. So Volunteers laying 4 on the road. Anything here?
No. No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Real quick,
Yep.
bringing up that money line parlay, when I did Georgia and Alabama a month ago, wasn't that like minus 108?
Mm, I honestly don't remember what the price was. Georgia was favored by
8.
8 points,
Yeah.
and Alabama was favored by
Yeah.
9 points. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's about the same. But you only had two teams though. This is for three,
3.
so
So
yeah,
this is probably going to be a better price than that would have been.
correct. Because of the extra team.
Right. You think it's worth it? The plus 120? Like, you think that's a good enough price to.
It's more than even money. I mean, if you think they're all three going to win, which I do, I think you have Oklahoma, Kentucky, Texas State. Or no, Penn State.
I
Yeah,
have,
I mean, I like it. That's why it's expensive because they're all 9 point favorites basically, except for Oklahoma.
I mean, OU. Well, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, we'll get back to the money line parlay later on in the show when we go over our best bets again.
Okay. Cal laying 3 points at Stanford rivalry game. Anything here?
I lean Cal here. I just don't think Stanford's any good, but
Yeah.
I don't really think Cal's all that great. So, road game, like you said, rivalry. I'm not going to have anything on a rivalry. So,
All right. 6:30. Illinois laying 7.5 points at Wisconsin. Anything in this game?
I have taken 2 unders so far this season. Uh, get 2 unders on point totals, and I'm 0 and
Hmm.
2. But I lean to the under in this game because how much is Wisconsin going to score? I know Illinois' defense is not
41.
that great, but Wisconsin's offense is one of the worst in the Power Four. I mean, here's what they've done against Power Four competition this year. Here's how many points Wisconsin has put up against each and every one of their Power 4 opponents? 14, 10, 10, 0, 0, 7, 13, 7. So, how many points do we think Wisconsin scores here? 10, maybe, or
Yeah.
so? And then how many points is Illinois going to score? Because here's how many points Wisconsin has given up against their Power 4 competition this year: 38, 27, 24, 37, 34. Not that great. And then recently, though, 21 against Oregon, 10 against Washington, 31 against Indiana, and Indiana earned every single one. Those 31
Yeah.
points started off kind of slow. So collectively, how many points do we think that there's going to be in this game? I don't think
Probably in
there's
the
going to be.
30s, 20s, 30s,
Yeah. Um.
if that.
So I kind of lean under.
Yeah. All right.
DDSN Nation. Do I do it? Do I have my third under on the season?
Because both of them were with Texas, weren't they? Longhorns under against Vandy, and then Longhorns under against Florida.
Yeah,
They both were like the craziest offensive games Texas has had this season.
I know. It's just crazy. Um. So the first the first time I do it with Wisconsin, Wisconsin's offense is actually going to have a pulse. That's how
It
it's going to
never
work.
fails. It never fails.
That or they have like 3 turnovers and Illinois scores. There's enough points to just barely hit the over because of turnover differential. It's going to go wrong. I just don't know how it's going to go wrong.
Yeah, I want
Um,
to say the Texas Florida game. There was like a touchdown in like the first three plays. Same thing with like the Texas Vanderbilt game. I think Texas scored on like the first play of the game or something.
so Wisconsin has been good recently at like slowing games down, and Illinois does not have Indiana's offense. They don't have Oregon's offense, and they don't have Washington's offense. And Wisconsin is at home here. Could they like slow this down and make this like a 13-10 ball game? I think so.
Yeah.
Uh, First of all, like Wisconsin scored on a trick play on Indiana. They scored their only touchdown against Washington because of a Damon Williams fumble inside the 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they had 3 other points off of a short field. Wisconsin did. They're not exactly improving offensively. So this isn't me saying like, oh, Illinois' defense is just amazing. They're going to shut down Wisconsin because of what Illinois is.
Yeah.
No. Illinois' defense is okay-ish, but Wisconsin can't score against anyone. And so, John, like, what would be your score prediction for this game right now?
24, 17.
That would be
Better than
over.
41. Right? Or no?
That would be over.
No, 24 is a lot for Illinois, and 17 is a lot for Wisconsin. Maybe 17, 17, 13.
You know what's funny? It's going to be 24-17. It's going to just hit the over. It's going to be just enough. Because I'm strongly considering it. I'll get back to this matchup later on.
Okay, yeah. It'll be right on the number 41.
Yep.
All right.
That's
Your
what's gonna
Mean
happen.
Green laying 18 points on the road at Rice. Anything here?
So I would lean UNT in this game because I think they're going to try to put up good numbers over the next couple of weeks to impress the playoff committee.
Mhm.
Except the only reason why I'm not making this a best bet is because Rice is good at one thing and really one thing only. But sometimes it's good enough to cover these large spreads.
Yeah.
They're good at slowing down the pace. And guess what UNT's weakness is? Stopping the run.
Yeah.
So could I see Rice getting a backdoor cover here? I absolutely could. So at 18.5, I'm not going to have a best bet here.
Okay. All right. Next game Western Kentucky at LSU. LSU laying 22.5. Anything here?
No, I don't really know what to make out of this game. I really don't. Um,
Yeah, I didn't watch the LSU Arkansas game, so I don't know how that backup quarterback looks for LSU. So I can't really, not that I would bet on this game either way, but I didn't really watch LSU, so I can't really say anything here.
I don't really know what to make of this matchup. You can convince me either way here, so I'm not going to have a best bet on this matchup.
Okay. All right, 7 p.m. BYU Cougars laying 2.5 on the road at Cincinnati. Their Big 12 title hopes on the line. You have anything here?
Say that matchup again. I'm sorry.
BYU laying 2.5 at Cincinnati.
I lean BYU. I don't think Cincinnati's as good as their record, but it's the Big 12. It's
Yeah.
late
Night
November.
game.
Yep, anything can happen. So I'm not going to make it a best bet. If this were at BYU, the spread wouldn't be only 2.5. But if it were at BYU, I might make BYU a best bet because I don't think Cincinnati is as good as their
No.
record, and I think BYU has a better coach. So I lean
Agreed.
BYU here, and the money line's going to be too expensive for BYU in this spot. So I'm going to stay away from it.
Okay. All right, next game. Arizona State laying 7 points at Colorado. You have anything here?
No, I thought about taking the Colorado team total under. I still
Uh-huh.
like this Arizona State defense, but here's the thing: I don't know what to expect from Colorado defensively.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, I don't know what to expect from Colorado offensively or defensively. So, um, yeah, I don't know, man, about this matchup.
Yeah, I have my 5 already, but I do have Colorado +7 here. This is a night game, sort of, be 6 o'clock Mountain Time. But I do like the way Colorado looked offensively with Julian Lewis. They look great. They look like a real offense. It kind of makes you wonder why he wasn't starting all season, but maybe he needed a little bit extra time. They did pay Caden Salter however much money, but they did look good against West Virginia, a game that they were very close and very much in that game. But Arizona State has not been very good on the road. They kind of squeaked out a victory against West Virginia. Not a lot of people are giving Colorado a shot here. Colorado's been pretty good against the spread at home, especially getting more than a touchdown. So I am going to buy extremely low, bottom of the barrel on the Colorado Buffaloes. Give me the touchdown. Give me 7 points with Colorado. Like I said, this offense, we don't know what we're going to get with the defense. Arizona State may run it, 50 times, which they probably should. But I do like the way the offense looks with Julian Lewis. Give me the touchdown with Colorado.
All right.
All right, next game. Washington laying 10.5 at UCLA. Anything here?
Nope, I don't trust Washington as a road team this year, but I also don't trust UCLA. So I can't get behind either team here.
All right. 9:30 San Jose State or yeah, San Jose State at San Diego State. Aztecs laying 11.5. Anything here?
Lay it with San Diego State, 11.5. Look, what is there to play for if you're San Jose State? You already have 7 losses. This was supposed to be a dark horse contender for the Mountain West title this year, San Jose State. And instead, it's San Diego State that turned out to be the dark horse Mountain West title contender. San Diego State, they have been a buzzsaw at home this year. DDSN Nation, you heard me talk about the Aztecs as a home team last week. San Diego State not only is undefeated at home, they are covering spreads by an average margin of 20. 20! Like, it hasn't even been close ATS wise when San Diego State has played at home. And again, if you're San Jose State, you went from being a dark horse Mountain West title contender to not even playing for a bowl game. Did you guys see what San Jose State did last week? They got beat 55-10 at the hands of Nevada. Nevada! What do you think San Diego State's going to do to them? San
Yeah.
Diego State still has a lot to play for. Like they are right now. San Diego State is in first place, is in sole possession of first place in the Mountain West. If San Diego State wins their next 2 games, they're going to be hosting the Mountain West title. Remind you, San Diego State's been awesome at home this year, and they know that. San Diego State's been they've put up a couple of shutouts at home. Now San Jose State's offense is all right, especially with the passing attack. But I don't trust San Jose State's defense at all in this matchup, especially not against San Jose State and their rushing attack, which has been awesome at home this year. And like, what is the motivation for San Jose State's offense? They put up 10 points against Nevada last week on the road. What are they going to do in back-to-back road games here for a team that's actually motivated to win and probably win considerably in this game?
Yeah.
So I'm laying it with San Diego State.
Yeah, and I don't blame you either on that one. Utah State at Fresno. Fresno State laying 2.5 at home.
I don't have anything for this game.
All right. Yep. Well, that's everything. I don't have anything there either. Let's just go ahead and go over our best bets and wrap things up. I know I'm putting mine out early just because I won't be able to do the Friday show. That's why we did it all today. I know CFE may have some. If he likes it, he'll tweet it out. We'll tweet it out. But what do you have locked in so far as of right now?
Locked in. San Diego State minus 11.5 hosting San Jose State. Texas State minus 17.5 hosting UL Monroe. Oh, I love all the home teams this week that I'm picking here.
Yeah.
I love the money line parlay with Penn State, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma. I was looking to make those best bets individually against the spread, and then I was like, OU emotional spot here. I don't know how they're going to bounce back, or I don't know how they're going to start specifically against Mizzou, and I could see Missouri covering like Iowa did against USC.
Yeah.
I felt really confident about USC outright. I saw a scenario where USC covered. I also saw a scenario where Iowa covered. Similar here with OU and Missouri. I can see a scenario where Missouri covers and makes OU sweat it out. OU is not great with the yardage margin, and they're not great offensively. So, you got a team like that laying these bigger numbers. I don't feel great about it, but I don't think Missouri's scoring that much in this game. So I like OU outright. I love how Penn State matches up against Nebraska. Plus, they're at home. I like Penn State outright. And I like how Vanderbilt matches up against Kentucky. Vanderbilt still playing for a playoff spot. Vanderbilt coming off a bye week before they play Tennessee next week. I like the spot for Vanderbilt. So I could also see Vanderbilt covering, but I certainly like them outright. You put those three together, you got a plus value. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I like those plays, and I do like the money line parlay. The only one that makes me nervous is Penn State, but Penn State's been looking pretty good, and they'll be at home. And I do not like the Nebraska backup quarterback. So as long as they stop the run, Penn State should be in good shape. And at plus 120 with that parlay, that's not terrible for those three teams on the money line. So I don't dislike that. All right, my teams. I ended up with six, I believe. I'm 26, 22, and 5 on the season. I'm going with SMU on the money line against Louisville. Sam Houston plus 7 at Middle Tennessee. I think that the Bearcats win this one outright as well, making it a 3-game winning streak. Got UTSA plus 2.5. I also think they can win this game outright and will in the Alamo Dome at home. Houston -1 hosting TCU. I love the Cougars here. I think this spread should be closer to 3.5. Georgia Tech hosting Pitt. I love Yellow Jackets here. A little mini playoff game for the ACC championship. Yellow Jackets laying 2.5. I don't think they're going to have a big look-ahead game because if they win this game, they can get into the ACC championship. And if they win the ACC championship, they're in the college football playoff. Don't necessarily need a win against Georgia, although that doesn't hurt. So I don't think there's a real look-ahead spot there. And also going a little bit off the reservation here, but I do like Colorado plus 7, hosting Arizona State. Julian Lewis at home, first game. I imagine they'll have a nice crowd. And Arizona State, we don't know exactly what we'll get from them on the road, but those are my picks for this week. And I could see there being some line movement by the time we get to Saturday, but I'm very comfortable with all these numbers the way that they are right now. I actually love them, and I'm ready to lock them in.
All right. And you know what? DDSN Nation, I am going to go ahead and pull the trigger on the under with Illinois and Wisconsin.
Ooh.
So right now the spread is
Third time's
around.
a charm.
Yeah, third time's a charm. There you go. So Right, and you know what's going to happen. Like the first time, like how many times have I actually been confident with an under? Only a couple times. I know I've lost both times, but you know what would happen, John, right? I'm confident with this one. I don't do it, and then it would have cashed. So you know,
Exactly.
so right now the spread is around 8.5, 9.5 in favor of Illinois. I've seen some people include Wisconsin plus the points. If you like Wisconsin against the number, are you thinking Wisconsin's going to put up 20 or 24 points? No, you're probably thinking Wisconsin, keeps this low scoring ugly and loses like 17 to 10,
Yeah.
20 to 13, something like that. So if Wisconsin gets those 10, 13, 14 points, even if Illinois gets 21, if the final score is 21 to 14, the under still cashes, and I'm not sure there's going to be that many points here. So I like the under here. By the way, I mean, again, the total is 40 and a half. Is that 40 and a half everywhere you look right now?
I saw 41.
Really?
Yeah. I bet online it was 41.
Okay, there's a 40 and a half at FanDuel. There's a 40 and a half at DraftKings. I'm still looking around here. There is 41 at Bet Rivers. Sorry, still looking around here. I'm still waiting on numbers at Bet 365. Wow, hang on. I have to go through.
So they're all 41?
A lot of 40 and a halfs out there, but give me under 41 for that game.
All right.
Yeah, there's not going to be any 41 and a halves. I would be shocked. Yeah, not with 24-17 being a possibility. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that the one time I take an under with Wisconsin will be the first time they hit the over, but that's the way it works.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, yeah, I like it. I mean, I always hate totals in college football, but I think we can get that one under the total.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a score prediction. I'll say so. I'm thinking of a scenario where the college football gods make me sweat it out, but
24-17.
I'm gonna say 20-13 Illinois, but Illinois gets like 10 points early off of like some crazy turnovers,
Yeah.
and then it's making me sweat it out the rest of the game, but then it ends up cashing because I legitimately think that there is some breathing room here. So
Okay. I mean, I like it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I look forward to keeping track of that one as well.
it's like the Wisconsin offense, you know that the Wisconsin offense, if you're taking an under, is going to do their part. Like they don't score, they
Yeah.
don't move the
It
football.
never fails. It never fails.
Right, that part of it won't fail. The part you wonder about is okay, so they don't move the football much, but how many turnovers do they have? What special teams look like? Does Illinois get a couple of big plays? Even if all of that happens, like I think there's a scenario where maybe Illinois covers and the over still doesn't cash, and maybe the final score is like 23-7. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of scenarios in how this can cash. So I like under 41, especially if I can get a push there if it's 24-17. So
Hey, can't go wrong there. But all right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that. Anything else you have before we close out?
I might add one or two more best bets for the week later on, but I like those four that I have right now: the money line parlay, Texas State covering against minus 17.5, hosting ULM, San Diego State covering minus 11.5 against San Jose State, and then of course the under between Illinois and Wisconsin.
All right, I like it, and I'm good. I'm not going to add anything. This is my six, and that's SMU on the money line, Sam Houston +7, UTSA +2.5, Houston -1, Georgia Tech laying 2.5, and Colorado +7. I do think all of those dogs will and can win outright, but we'll have to wait and see until Saturday. But other than that, that's everything that we have here. Remember, this is our show, not we're not going to have a Friday show. This is basically our Friday show for the weekend. If anything else pops up, we will tweet it out. But other than that, that's everything here. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for any voicemails, chats. We appreciate the viewers. Like and subscribe. But other than that, we'll see y'all next time.